This is Shruti Sitara Singh on behalf of the Fashion Design Council of India. I would like to welcome you all for the second session on FDCI Insights with emerging designers talking about the new realities. As we all know, change is constant and global crises have transformed the course of the world and made history. Our generation or the prior has not seen anything as unprecedented. There isn't a guide, a manual, or a formula which prepares us for times like this. Here we are with three really distinct and talented designers. I would like to introduce Saksha from Saksha and Kitty. Her label is a contemporary boho luxe brand that specializes in traditional prints and hand embroideries placed on global silhouettes. We have Kanika Goyal of Kanika Goyal label. Her brand stresses on neo-luxury, using traditional tailoring and elements of today, also using humor as a vehicle to communicate her ideas and values. Naushad from Pondicherry, which is one of my most favorite places in India. Naushad is a minimalist designer who's inclined towards more conscious practices with passing through every collection you see new design principles coming out. So guys, I mean, with all of this, there has been no pause. We're chasing things with speed when we can't even sort of deliver without meaning, right, or without purpose. So my first question to all of you is, because we are in this lockdown, do you think we needed this or some kind of external force to pause and reevaluate? And I would like to hear, Kanika, what do you think about this?
Yeah, first of all, I'm glad everybody's safe and sound. That's the most important right now. And I feel, yes, we really did need this. I mean, we're humans at the end of the day, and, we're always meant to, like, chase our bigger dreams and, like, be more ambitious and, like, always, we're always on the lookout for getting more and more done. And I think even in the past, if our family or friends would have told us, like, it's time to slow down, like it's taking a toll on your health or whatever it is, we would always think that, we won't be relevant anymore. That fear is always there. We won't be seen or heard, or even in terms of, just other people getting ahead of us. So I think this would have never happened if it wasn't for this forced lockdown that has happened. And I think the sooner we sort of accept it, we'll be able to embrace it better and we can take it forward from there. And I think this is something that wasn't anticipated. I mean, we've heard of pandemics before, but I think everybody's always gotten out of it. We've come out stronger, so that is something that we hope is going to happen with this too. But yeah, I think there's so many things you realize during this time that you were like overlooking so many other important things in life that actually are relevant. Like even I feel at Kanika Goyal label, I think for autumn winter 19, we did this collection which was literally just based on like pausing in life in general, because it's so important to adapt that sort of an essentialism concept as a lifestyle, because we're so much on the run. We're constantly saying yes to people that, okay, yes, I want that project. Yes, I don't want to let go of that. And we really can't say no. And it actually takes a toll on the actual essence of life, what it is meant to be. So I think offsite is now the new onsite for sure. And I think now we are saying no to the things that actually don't hold any relevance in our lives. And yeah, I think it was much needed when now I reflect about it.
Naushad, would you like to add to this? I mean, in terms of, you've always, knowing you, I know that you have been mindful, you have paused these last 2 years, right? And you have thought through a lot of things and you've come to a lot of realization points. Would you like to elaborate on that?
Well, I think this pause and rethinking is anyways needed for all of us, especially in our industry. I know how each one of us have been chasing, like how Kanika said, it's never ending. We just have to keep chasing and chasing and chasing. At some point, we don't even realize what are we chasing. So it's just been so harmful for us as individuals and also for the planet, especially from our industry. So this pause was definitely much needed. And it's just that it's thrown at us in a very unexpected way by nature, maybe as a reminder, that we must slow down. And the best we could do is make use of it and definitely rethink on how we're going to do things further. So, yeah, that's important.
Saksha, what are your thoughts on this?
I mean, I totally agree with all the points Kanika and Naushad said. And I think we didn't even realize, Kini and I, that we were actually stuck in a rut where you just produce, sell. You're stuck in such a rut that you don't have time to kind of pause and look at what you actually want to achieve. What is the message you want to say? And I think the best thing that we've learned from this experience is we finally got a chance to go back to the drawing board and kind of ask ourselves, who are we as a brand? What do we want to say? What skills do we want to enhance? Projects that are close to our heart, like empowering women. We wanted to get more into that. Now we can finally spend time and research, how do we do this? How do we go to cluster communities? How do we, enhance what we're already doing? And I think it's such a good time in our lives to just stop, completely reset, and figure out who are we as a brand.
I think this time has given all of us, a time to reevaluate, introspect of what we've been doing, what do we really want, and what is the meaning, and are we serving a purpose or not? And Naushad, I mean, with this, I would like to throw a question at you. With the label being deeply rooted with conscious and sustainable practices since its inception, do you think the word sustainability is used in a wrong way, a wrong light in our industry?
Well, in the past, we had it so much inbuilt. Actually, we were talking about it yesterday briefly, how we all used to get as kids only 2 pairs of clothes a year, new ones, one for birthdays and one for festivals. That's it. We never complained about it. We used to look forward to it. I remember my dad used to take me to a tailoring shop. We used to pick up the clothes and somebody measure me, and there was so much of excitement just getting those 2 pairs of new clothes a year. And now we're talking about it as an international, a brand model to be sustainable. It's just a bit funny. This has been a big part of our culture in the past. I think we have kind of lost it down the road, and now we all are talking about going back to that.
But do you think being ethical, is the way forward, being ethical in terms of, health and safety of your co-workers, or sanitization of the place, who made your clothes? What do you think about that? What are those 4 or 5 practices which will be essential moving forward?
Well, it's a very huge topic, honestly. It's about taking care of everything and anything around you and maximum things possible around you, which definitely includes taking care of the people you work with. Also, first of all, questioning what you make and how you make, and also where you make, and do we even have to make what we make? That's a big question we all face as creative people. It's a kind of a constant internal fight that we have. We all love creating, but we also have this conflict inside, like, do I really need to make this? Do I really need to make this in a certain way? And it's just these basic questions that make it more sustainable, I would say. And also definitely the other aspects to it. And everybody now understands, the more and more we discuss this, that it's not only about buying organic cotton and making some cotton kurtas. That's not sustainable enough anymore. And take care of definitely every single aspect of how we could be sustainable.
Thank you, Naushad. And my second question will be for Saksha. Saksha, the label has been stocking at multiple boutique stores in the States and Middle East since its launch in 2017. The collection samples for Resort 21 is no longer needed. What is your strategy to effectively utilize the collection despite it being redundant due to COVID-19 negating the season? What are your coping mechanisms?
Yeah, I mean, it's a very real scenario that we never thought would happen. We send samples for Resort 21 to the States, to our showrooms and whatever. And now there's no buyers. The showrooms are no longer open. We're, in effect, the world has shut down. So what do you do? And, Kini and I had this conversation where the easy thing to do would be make SS, 21 and send it. But that doesn't make sense. You're just mass producing garments for absolutely no reason. And like Naushad said, that wouldn't be ethical. from our point of view. So we had to quickly think, how do we utilize this collection? Okay, it's not a spring summer 21 collection, but how do we, make it, package it so it looks like that? Because at the end of the day, there's no point just taking a beautiful line, making it redundant, making a new collection from scratch, discarding a whole line just to serve a spring summer label. So, we've had to think about, how do we edit the collection, make it more spring summer? We have to reshoot it. Now, how do you shoot with a lockdown? So we decided to, for example, sending the samples to a influencer friend, having her shoot it at home, being safe, and then putting out a new lookbook, but with the same clothes edited in a different way. And I think if we do smart choices like that, rather than just mass producing when lockdown ends, just to be a little more smart, a little more environmentally aware, instead of just putting unlimited amounts of silhouettes out there. And I know you and I have been speaking about this recently, that, for example, as a brand, we don't make 100 new silhouettes per season. Because what is the point? You're just making, and it goes to waste. It may not even work. So what we try and do is take silhouettes that we know work. We know our staples in, our clients' wardrobes. Of course, we evolve them. We change them up a little bit. But we don't make 5,000 new silhouettes every season, because, again, you're just filling landfill sites for no reason. So I think as designers, we need to be also smarter and more conscious about how many looks we're putting out per season. Are they all needed? What do our customers actually want? What will they take away? If it doesn't make sense, why not utilize what we already have and work on smarter choices in the future and changing our brands, like Naushad said, not becoming more sustainable, but being more ethically aware about the practices and the choices we're making as brands. So I think that has to be the kind of mindset going ahead.
That's a beautiful coping mechanism, and I strongly second you. Like, moving forward, it will be about essentials, classics, where you don't need so many pieces. And yeah, human consumerism is gonna change. The mindset is gonna change. And Kanika, I would like to come on that. I have another question for you. You have always been, human psychology has always been an underlying inspiration for you. In the past, you've spoken about, consumerism, essentialism as a way of life, which are currently relevant, right? And Kanika, my question for you would be, because you absorb human psychology so well, what do you think will be the impact on that, and as well as your business moving forward?
I feel definitely there's going to be a huge impact in terms of, it's not going to be the same. I mean, what it was and where we were with our last season and what the other next season, coming up season would be. I think there is already a huge shift. Actually, if you talk in terms of the clients, they're already, or the customers, or your viewers, or whoever is absorbing your product, I feel they are definitely going to be more mindful in terms of what they're buying, and the whole concept of whatever the way consumerism was going on in terms of just hoarding on stuff and like collecting a number of pieces, and not even having those many occasions in hand, just because it was more of like a pressure from the society, or all of those other external factors. I think that's definitely going to change. As you said, I do believe people are going to invest more in essentials, more in the products that will last them longer. We have been having this conversation, I mean, for years now. But I feel now, because the economy is also going to be affected, it will take more than a year for sure for it to even start recovering the buying power of the consumer to even start resurfacing, I feel. And I think even as designers, to just like showcase our product, this time has just given us so much insight in terms of, do we really want to go this way? Like, I was hearing this talk, and one of the panelists was talking about how the pre-season collections actually are the ones that are on the floor and actually get you the most amount of money. And you're still doing the fashion week, the main lines, because you as a designer want to put your creativity out there. But actually, that collection is not moving as fast as the other seasons are. And in the end, you're literally just putting it on sale, and the value also diminishes, your brand value diminishes. So we really need to think about all of these things. Like, do we really need so many collections in a year? And even in terms of like our own brand, I feel we're now definitely thinking of like reducing the number of looks that we do per season. I mean, again, we are always like thinking, oh, I'm so and so years down in the line in terms of the business, so I need to have like 30-40 looks minimum, or my database, my client needs to see more of my product. So that kind of a demand that we're constantly trying to meet, which doesn't even, I think, come from within us. It's and I feel our creativity really does suffer in the whole thing. When, I mean, I personally can't expect myself to be creative like a robot, like constantly just like churning out ideas. I just can't function like that. And it does reflect in the product, like after a point, like, we've been reading about all of this, how people are doing 6 to 12 collections in a year. That's like insane. I mean, we don't need that. So really thinking about, how do we really need 30-40 looks? Can we do with 20 looks in a season? And do we want to do separate lines? Yeah, and people will always enclose. That's not an issue. I mean, that's you as a creative person doing your storytelling, instilling that kind of emotion in your clients, mind and heart, and that's a separate thing. But I feel, yeah, like it's complete. It's a complete waste. I feel there's so much surplus, like Saksha said. What do we do with that? And it's the whole system that kind of demands it now. It was never that. Now it's the whole system wherein people do want, I mean, it's on social media. Your collection is out. In 2 months, it's old. We're constantly being pushed to like make another collection because it's so visible. The product is just out there. It doesn't take 10 minutes or a day to actually reach the customer. It's right there. So when somebody else is wearing it, they're like, oh, it's already old. So that competitiveness is not just between brands, it's between the consumers also and their whole, the frame of lifestyle or whatever they are, comparing themselves. That comparison is always there. So that is good in a way. It motivates us, but I feel it does also take a toll on a lot of other aspects that are there. And I think moving forward, there are going to be a lot of changes that I feel in terms of just like planning it out in a better way. It's great. They had a great output. I won't lie, but it's like you tend to think sometimes that do I really need to sort of let my mental health take that much of a pressure, and is it even worth it to that extent? So I think I think that's about it. There are a lot of things. And in terms of business, yes, like I feel, as I've already said, I feel we're definitely going to narrow it down to 2 seasons, 2 collections. And I think we were doing more capsules in a year. That also we're going to cut down. And in terms of fabrics and all, we are also currently trying to like use, luckily we had some extra fabrics that we had called in earlier. That's definitely going to be there, that we're going to reuse all of that. We have been actually doing that for the past 3 seasons, wherein we are using the surplus and creating fabric surfaces. That is my take of an ethical practice that we have been doing. So I think just adopting more sort of better ways to look at just not yourself as a brand, but like actually thinking about what it's going to do to the society. Like fashion is definitely not a separate entity anymore.
Is coming together to help one another the way forward? And Saksha, why don't you tell us, what do you think about this?
Absolutely. I think the only way, in fact, that we're all going to come through this as a community is together. I think the minute we put blinders on and think of only ourselves and our own brands, that's when we're going to box ourselves and really not utilize a team effort to come out the other end. Let's slow fashion right down as a community. And I think the minute we all collectively decide to do that, who can stop us, right? The minute we say close down barriers of seasons, help each other out, utilize skills. I mean, I had a conversation with you where, of course, I'd love to help other people. I mean, the skill set I have, or me and Kini have, is hand micropleating, hand embroideries, prints. How do you design prints? And we get, questions all the time that what's the process of designing a print from, a sketch to digital to computers to blocks to whatever kind of printing. And, ask us. We'd love to share our tips. Someone else who's doing hand micropleating, how do you do it? How is it more effective? Maybe we could trade. I mean, our process may be better than yours. Why don't you approach our technique? Let's all help each other. I mean, I don't think it's a competition anymore. Everyone has their own aesthetic. So there'll always be a client or a store ready to buy your aesthetic, your vision.
Naushad, what's for you? You know, what's the way forward? Is coming together the way forward?
Recently, a season or two earlier, we kind of downscaled because
Yeah.
I used to have a team of around 20, 22 people, and I found it extremely difficult when I traveled to actually take care of them and also kind of monitor the whole workforce when I'm away from the office. So it kept me thinking when I came back and I scaled down. And it's also with the notion of maybe I'm not good at handling 22 people. Maybe someone else is good at handling 22 people. Maybe there is another production which definitely needs work. And why not we work together instead of me trying to do everything ourselves? So that was a great realization point for me when I came back. And I mean, everybody around me, they gave a 50-50 advice to me. They said, it's a big risk. This is a team you built. What are you doing? You're letting them go. It's not going to be easy. And on the other half, people are saying, this is amazing. This is a good thing that can happen to yourself. Now we can see your face more often around. So I actually went ahead and did it. And we started partnering with Master-G. You guys might know Master-G already. It's an NGO-based. It's an all-women run organization. They pick up women from different social backgrounds. They train them very beautifully on a very internationally designed tailoring course. And they hire them and we work with them now. And I gave them up to 3-4 batches of orders without even actually meeting them. Everything happened over the phone. And I realized that they're a lot more efficient than the team I handle. And why not work with somebody who's efficient than me? I'm still learning, I would say. It's a dye that's very amusing for me. I still take my old shoes to my bed sheets to anything and keep dyeing to figure out what actually comes out of it. So I'm also learning yet. I'm not a master yet. But maybe when I have my own indigo dyeing unit, which is the idea, you all are most welcome.
Yes. You get a virtual. Were you doing the high five, Shruti?
No, I'm saying yes, me first. Okay, guys, thank you. This was lovely. Lovely for me, lovely to have all of you for FDCI. And on behalf of the Fashion Design Council of India, I would like to thank each one of you for sharing knowledge just through conversation, sharing insights, and coming together at this platform. And of course, taking out time when we already have a lot of time right now, but taking out time. So just to sum it up all, the pandemic has been essential in bringing out the sense of responsibility and cohesion by every member in the industry. And moving forward, sharing data, strategies, insights, knowledge, even your production or, your support is the way forward, I think, to navigate through these times. And on that note, I would say goodbye. And thank you so much.
Can I just add one thing? Can I add one thing?
Yes, please.
I think it's amazing what you guys are doing. Like, I think just talking to other designers on one platform really makes you feel that you're not alone in this. Yeah. And to just hear everybody else's point of view, I think it just makes us that confident that we're definitely going to get through it stronger.
Yeah.
So, we are all in this together.
Yes.
Definitely.
Thank you, guys. Thank you so much.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Bye. See you.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.